Hey everybody, welcome back. Uh, Last week we had kind of a long video, and I've been doing a lot of other stuff today. So what I thought I'd do instead is actually show off a Warhammer army that I redid. I want to say mostly last year, and the result is turning out to be really really special. The army itself is a work in progress, as they all are. But I thought I'd show off what I have done anyway, and I don't know, just kind of talk about the lore and why they do what they do, and kind of where the inspirations came from and stuff like that. So these guys, I like to call them Hellforge Tindalos. They are technically a Chaos warband. It might not surprise you to learn that I play Chaos. Um, the warband is mostly warpsmiths and obliterators, rather than your typical legionary Chaos Space Marines. I started playing with this idea of playing as the Dark Mechanicum, so I started collecting demon engines and stuff like that. And the more I collected the demon engines and the lore, or the more lore I learned, the more I started realizing that a lot of the units I have, I mean, they're mostly warpsmiths. So I was like, wouldn't it be interesting if there was a chaos warband made of warpsmiths? So this guy in the middle here is not Vashdor. The model is Vashdor, but this guy is actually he's actually a warpsmith turned demon prince named Oxylmaeus. And he, well, I mean, I think he's like the one and only psychic capable model in the entire army. Um, but I like, I mean, especially if you look at how he's put together. So, like in the right hand, you see you got the big hammer. There's kind of the smokestacks that are kind of telltale signs of the sort of Dark Mechanicum or the Warpsmith Brotherhoods. There's sort of a secret code when looking at a lot of what I believe are Dark Mech models. They're usually going to have smokestacks like that. You see on some of these guys, a lot of these guys have them on their back. They exist somewhere near the back of the Lord Discordant. They're on the back of the the Venom Crawlers, and they're all over these Mauler Fiends. And they're on the Knights. The Kit Bash Knight, yeah, he doesn't have any, but so Oxylmaeus is the foremost Demon Prince Warpsmith in Hellforge Tindalos. And the idea for the color scheme actually came from I decided to try something. I did sort of a contrast paint for the skin, where that is actually Drakenhof Nightshade over a coat of white. And the result was it reminded me of the imaginary color Stygian blue. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if that was kind of the skin that I put on a lot of these guys? So all the demon engines, they're going to have the same kind of bluish, that Stygian blue skin. Unless there's like normal human units. So if there's like ever like normal Marines or like cultists, they're not going to have that blue. The blue in this case is sort of code for that's demon infused flesh. So I started this army in 8th edition, and I haven't really upgraded from that, even though some of the basing on the Warpsmiths is still very 8th edition. I have other obliterators. The other one's not painted up, but I thought I'd recount one of the more interesting games that I played with the earliest components of this army. See, it was way back in I think they were doing Crusade rules. So the army I brought to the table looked a lot different than this. Actually, as I mentioned, I had redone it. It used to be Nurgle themed Dark Mechanicum, and I didn't have the Vashtor model back then. So the leader was actually one of these Lord Discordants back here, and I had some of the older Obliterator models, which I'm also going to redo for this, and I think I had like a bunch of cultists, and I think at the time I only had one Venom Crawler, and these guys used to be called Fido and Rusty because I painted them to look really, really rusty and gross. And I thought I feel like I can do better than that now. But it's, you know, strangely enough, I settled on like a really, really basic color scheme. Just black Iron Warriors color and like blue, kind of glowing blue. But anyway, what happened was I was fighting actually a Chaos Knight, um, and I thought, oh boy. And this is before I really knew what the Lord Discordant can do. I hadn't really deployed it against anything that big. He'd ripped apart a couple of tanks. He'd it's vehicles, but he'd never gone up against a knight before. But this game was interesting because Agalok here and Rusty, in a single charge, after he had fired his weapons, after a single charge, killed the knight, and that's when I learned that Lord Discordant was something special, and that I should really, really expand on that. Anyway, yeah, I think that was my favorite thing these guys had done. I imagine they're quite a bit more capable now. These models back here, that was a kit bash that had been in the back of my brain for a long, long time. So on top of there is, I think it's called the Lord of Bones, Lord of Skulls, Lord of Skulls. The lower half of this thing is normally like some weird tank-looking tracked vehicle. But I thought, oh, how cool would it look if I put it on some knight legs like that. So the lore of this guy here is this guy is called the Knight Engine. And it's called that because it has no pilot. This is actually a demon engine in our lore. Oxalmaeus and his group of Warpsmith Brotherhood guys, they scrapped together pieces of a knight they blew up, and they stuffed a big demon in it. And so now we have this automated knight thing that runs on its own, is possessed by a demon. So that he was really fun to build. Sort of a nightmare to paint. Actually, this whole army in a way is sort of a nightmare to paint because, I mean, it looks like it's pretty simple, right? Just black and sort of a steel color. But the trim, though, is just bonkers. It's all over the place. As you can see, like these legs and stuff. It looks really, really cool when it's done. But, you know, you use Iron Breaker for a lot of highlights and edges. So, you know, just once you get the Iron Warriors on there, then you realize you got to go back over everything and hit all the edges. You can see that pretty clearly on this other knight back here where I kind of did some Ironbreaker scuff marks. I kind of wish I hadn't done that, but it doesn't look that bad. So this knight, I think, as I just said, this guy is called the Recurring Nightmare. He does have a pilot. And this guy is actually from a kind of a fallen knight house. He didn't really choose the path of chaos, of course. That was many, many eons ago. But he continues in their footsteps because he has very, very little choice unless he wants to end up dead or exiled or something worse, probably. This is 40K. There's worse stuff than death. So this thing is actually a Knight Abominant. Which means there is a demonic machine spirit inside it, which can cause the knight to act kind of weird. As you can see here, the cockpit is actually chained shut. That is not truly chained shut in our lore here. That's done symbolically. As to what that means symbolically, I don't really know, but I know that he can get out. Although I would really like to do sort of a proper Knight Abominant. This guy's sort of like a mix of different stuff. So like I didn't put the tail on there that the Knight Abominant has because I thought it looked silly. And I wished I had one of those, missile rack upgrades for them. So what I did is I just took a Havoc launcher and just glued it to the top. It actually looks pretty good, I think. But one thing I do know that I really liked about the Knight Abominate model is I love kind of the helmet with the tusks. I think that looks really gnarly. Um, I really like the look of Chaos stuff. Like it looks like Barbarian Raiders, but like super cyber age. I don't know if I mentioned this. I started talking about it, and then my mind started wandering because I was having so much fun talking about this army. The reason I figured he could be a warpsmith ascended to demon princehood is sort of there's sort of an iconographic. Is that the right word? Anyway, there's parallels in appearance between it's the smokestacks and the hammer. You get the exact same configuration on sort of a base warpsmith model, and their poses. Let's see if I can find one that's posing a little better. You see how they're walking like that? They're sort of pointing. The pose is basically identical, where he's walking and he's looking off to the side. He's got the hammer in that exact same hand. So, also, I'd never heard of such a thing as like a warpsmith ascending to demon prince hood, demon hood. That's the one. One of the most fun things to do on these models, and it happens wherever there's something glowing, is I really liked kind of doing the glowy eye effect on the face, and I liked doing you can see similar stuff done over here on the Venom crawlers. That was like really, really fun to do. I like to think I got kind of good at it. Some of it's botched, some of it's overdone, but I feel like mostly it turned out pretty good. As you can imagine, mechanically, these guys are chaos undivided. So I don't typically like to dish out a lot of like marks of chaos. If I have to, I tend to go Mark of Nurgle for survivability, because I really like the big tanky machines. Like they're really hard to kill, and that stacks really, really well with Iron Warriors stuff. So mechanically, you'd play these dudes as Iron Warriors, and then you throw Mark and Nurgle and everything, and then all of a sudden you've got Disgustingly Resilient. I think you can... No, it's not Disgustingly Resilient, but there's sort of a tactic or a strategy you can use that makes them harder to kill. And on top of that, they also have Iron Within, Iron Without, and then you can use like the Demon Forge tactic on all the demon engines, and it gets kind of out of control when you do all that stuff. Not to say that I won a whole ton of games, because basically my strategy is I'm going to take Fido and Rusty over here and I'm going to ram them directly into you. And then the two Lord Discordants are going to do pretty much the same thing. And the Warpsmiths are going to stay behind everything and keep them healed. And oh, by the way, those guys blow up on a 5 and 6 and it's really big, and I don't know. It's really, really cool. I have never actually played official 40k with a knight, ever. I play these guys in one-page rules. And these guys in one-page rules tend to perform pretty good, but it just doesn't... As far as I know, they may have updated anything. It doesn't really have the combo power as what I played with in 8th edition. So you might notice that a lot of these guys have some weird decals. So I can't remember where I got these. I really can't. I ordered them off the internet. These are some Dark Mechanicum looking decals, but they look so good. And they're on the shoulders of the Warpsmiths. Like you got that one right there. In fact, I think all of the Warpsmith coded models have that on their shoulder. So I guess that's sort of the Warband badge, if it'll focus. And then on the foreheads there, I've got sort of like a corrupted Mechanicus symbol. And I do have some regular old Chaos Knight stuff on these guys, and I don't know. I really liked the look of these models. One thing I didn't really like is I think I went a little too over the top on that one there. Um, the reason I say that is because the recurring nightmare is from an actual fallen knightly house, uh, which I think was already taken. I think I named it House von Draken, but I figured out that I think there's already a house called that, but I never changed it. And now I'm actually using the Von Draken name in a solo game for a Dampier character. Um, so yeah, I guess he's in two different universes. One of my favorite things that I painted on one of these guys. Let's see if I can pull this out here. See if you can see it clearly. For some reason, I really, really like the contrast of sort of that bone color and the steel and the glowy blue. It makes me really, really happy to see that. So that might actually end up being a color combination on another warband I do later. It's sort of that bone color and then some steel trim and then glowy blue bits like that. I kind of feel like my decals here rob the effect on some of the miniatures that they're on, but I don't know. Maybe it's just layers. You let me know what you think. I chose red decals because they would stick out more, and then I ended up thinking, oh man, maybe that's kind of too much. So things to add. What I'm actually planning on adding is we are going to have cultists. But the cultists are going to be what are these things called? I think they're called Tech Thrall from the Horus Heresy. So they're going to look like these weird cyber zombie dudes, and these guys are going to act like screens. So let's say I need to get a warpsmith up to one of my guys. I'm going to have cultists screen the warpsmith so he can't be charged or anything like that. And my buddies and I are actually kind of slowly gathering stuff for 8th edition, because 8th edition will always function as 8th edition. And it had some, I think, pretty cool rules. It was the first edition I ever played, and I thought it was really fun. So, and it has demon engines in it. So, and a lot of support for them. I think another way I might expand this is bringing in some Horus Heresy looking tech priest guys. I don't know what I'm going to use them for in 8th edition, but in in one-page rules, I can easily just throw on the machine cult thing with the Havoc brothers, and then like bam, we have like machine cult. We have like machine cult infantry and some machine cult leaders that'll look like tech priests and things like that. But as dark mechanically as it might seem, at its core, it's actually these guys. Like, these are the actual Marines and the Demon Prince. So it's all basically going to be Warpsmiths and Obliterators and the one Demon Prince. And you know what? I actually did have, oh man, what was his name? He's the Horus Heresy guy that looks like a scorpion. I know that's in his name. I never called him that, but I did his model. I did the base different. I didn't like the staircase that they put him on. You know what I'm talking about. He's kind of got the spidery legs. I keep wanting to call him Scorpius. That's not his name. Whatever. I'll remember it like 5 minutes after I post this video. So what I did is I actually have him crawling over some rusty machinery instead of down a staircase. The result is the model is a lot lighter, and my opinion looks better because that staircase is just solid resin, man. Like, it is just a heavy puck with stairs, and if you try and pick it up by the guy, it will rip right off that resin puck. So overall, I feel like what I did, although slightly more bland looking, actually worked out a lot more. Definitely expect to see these guys in a video at some point here, whether it be one-page rules or, maybe my buddies and I will start doing some 8th edition content in the future, because we are starting to pull together a lot of those older 8th edition books. So, yeah, this has been Hellforge Tindalos. It's been a pleasure to show them off. I did a really old video a couple years ago. You can probably see the older version of these guys when they were painted all goopy and rusty for Papa Nurgle. But I have a different Nurgle faction now. They're called the Sons of Desolation, and they are also, although those guys are actually also Iron Warriors, but devoted to Nurgle, and maybe I'll show you them another time. Anyway, thank you for bearing with me as I talk through some of my little plastic army men. I hope you enjoyed seeing the paint job and what I've been putting together. I can't wait to get some more demon engines and throw them in here. Maybe some flying ones or one of those big crabs. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.